So in this episode, we're going to be pulling apart the front end of the Suburban for the solid axle swap. And if you stick around, you'll find out why in my front diff there was a socket for 2.5 years. We'll find out why it was there. We'll find out what purpose it served. And we'll find out what it looks like after 2.5 years of being in there. Front end teardown has begun. And I started right as far forward as you can go. Get the bumper out of the way, but to get the bumper out of the way, I had to get the grill out of the way. Well, I could have just went in the frame and unbolted these first, but I decided to do it this way. And to get these top bolts, you have to get the grill off. Anyways, trying to plan out the front bumper for the longest time. You know, it's kind of one of the centerpieces of a vehicle, in my opinion, especially an off-road truck with a big bumper on the front. I want it to try to be as sleek as possible, like the rear bumper, but at the same time, I want to have a winch in it. I could tuck the winch back, but I don't want to modify the grill to have to reach in, so it would have to be low enough so I can reach through the bumper, which might not be a problem. So I might be able to work that out, but then there's a few other problems with that. Same with the SAS, there's a few problems. For the solid axle swap, most of the time there's a cross member that runs right across here. That will affect the winch. And I also wanted to keep the factory tow hooks. That will possibly affect that. So, I gotta start sacrificing somewhere. Either have the winch out front, don't have an added cross member, take away the factory tow hooks. Something's got to give, which really sucks. I might be able to maybe notch out a hole in the cross member and slide the tow hooks back in and bolt them. I don't know. I'll kind of have to see that when I get there. The problem with the tow hooks is they are so rotted in here. Last time I tried to take a bolt off, it just broke. So that means that the tow hooks will no longer be able to go back on once I take them off. Unless I drill and tap, and I really don't want to do that. Or did that block just slide out? I might have to clean up in here and try to figure it out. I don't know. I guess it's just a lot to think about that I'll have to kind of work towards. What I might do for the winch is tuck it back there, but do the cross member to get all the IFS straight, and then kind of build an addition to the cross member, then cut the cross member out, set the winch in. Kind of go from there, but I'd like to, maybe tie the winch, the leaf spring mounts, and the bumper all into one, so it kind of is all one trifecta of strength. Because that is one thing I worry about, is the leaf spring purchase not being that strong, especially since it is going to be on the road. Worry about the winch ripping off, worry about the bumper moving. So maybe if I get all those together, might not be too bad. I guess I'll keep taking stuff off. There's the skid plate that I never put properly back on. If you remember from previous episode, probably about a year ago, trying to figure out where the coolant leak is from. Which from previous episode, few episodes ago, where I worked on the dually, and then I came back to this for the timing, if you remember that, if you saw that episode. I did notice when I was turning over, it seemed to be weeping from the water pump, actually. So I might just need a new water pump, but we're going to put a whole new driveline in this thing anyways, so. That's the start of this. Just got to start removing all this darkness under here. Oh, we're at the point of no return. I cut the torsion bar. And with the mileage of this thing, there's no way those torsion bars are coming out. That's why I just cut it. And if I wanted to put it back together, there's no way I'm getting that one out to put a fresh one in. So, point of no return. Everything's out on this side. Just tuck the caliper. That's really hard to see. Just tuck the caliper up on the frame for now so I don't have brake fluid leaking everywhere. And then once I do the other side, this is all got to get cut out, which is a pain. And then I'll have to cut these back right at the cross member. See if anybody wants any of this stuff. Probably not, but it's all, 10,000 kilometer ball joints and tie rod ends and wheel bearings, CV shafts. Probably somebody wants the CV shafts, but and with these trucks, the ball joints are actually riveted in. So to replace them, you gotta drill the rivets out and put bolts in. I've done that on this, on the upper and lower, so maybe somebody does want the control arms. They'll have to fight to get the torsion bar out of this one, but save them a heck of a lot of time trying to drill those out. Somebody's trying to replace the whole front end of their truck and they want to put bushings in the control arms instead of ball joints and holes in there. You can make $100. I'll be keeping the shocks. They can go on the dually because they're fairly brand new shocks. But then all the brakes and wheel bearings and everything can go. We're getting there. Just gotta do the other side now. Doesn't take too long, especially with just unbolting it all as one big piece. Just take the brakes off, the wheel bearing off, and then upper and lower control arms. Have that fall out of the way, cut the tie rod in. Doesn't take much time at all. And I just want to mention, if you ever do cut torsion bars, please make sure that they're unbolted and everything first. Don't just cut torsion bars. That's the spring of the truck. Those are designed to hold up 3,000 pounds. There's a lot of energy in those. So at least undo the control arms like I did, or the torsion keys or something, before you start cutting cylindrical springs. Well, she's empty under here. No suspension left. I gotta take out tie rods and drag link, take off the skid plate, and then the part I hate the most, the front diff. These things are kind of a pain. Well, actually not so much to get out. They're a lot harder to get in. They got to kind of fit in a certain way, or at least that's how I've always seemed to find it. But then again, you're supposed to drop the steering links to pull them in and out, and I never did. So instead, I just fought with it instead. So I think I'm going to pull the steering out this time. And then I can get my socket back. Because that motor right there is the wrong one for this diff. That's for the original one from the Suburban, I believe, or from a 96. I can't remember. I've swapped front diffs in this so many times. Either way, the actuator and the diff itself are different. The actuator was too short, so I put like a 1-inch socket in there, or 24 mil socket or whatever. We'll find out when we pull it out. That was about 2 years ago, 2.5 years. Yeah, 2.5 years ago, I put a socket in there, and it seemed to work pretty good. But we'll take that out. I'll get my socket back. Okay, now that we've removed the steering and all the suspension, now we can do the diff service, which is the whole reason we pulled all this off anyways. When I put this diff in here, I don't even think I checked the fluid. So this is all old fluid from when it was in the parts truck, and only God knows what it looks like. Come on, and the threads. Oh, that's fairly clean. Maybe I did do a diff service. Although the guy who had the parts truck, he took pretty good care of it, and everything was pretty new on it when I got it. That's why I got it as a parts truck. He rebuilt the whole front end on the truck, and then the tranny went. So, yeah, that looks really clean. Alright, this big dumb chunk of metal's finally out of there after done fighting with it. I don't know if it's just me who has problems with these, or if they're actually that hard to swap out. And this is the small half-ton one. I couldn't even imagine with the 3/4 ton one. I could have undid it without this, but this isn't the side that gets in the way. It's this side. The pinion is above the bracket, and you need it to come forwards, but this hits, and so you need it to go backwards and sideways. And maybe there's a trick to it that I just don't know, or maybe it's just me, or maybe these are actually that difficult. I don't know. Got this mostly off. Let's see what is inside for the socket. Okay. Here's the actuator. Oh, maybe there's an end piece that was supposed to go on there. And socket. Aha! 7/8. Looks in pretty good shape. There's a bunch of sludge around it. But clean that up and I'll finally have that back. And you can see all the marks in it from sliding sideways. And you got your circular ones from using it as a socket, and you got the longitudinal ones from using it as an actuator. Okay. And put this back together. Other than taking that dumb guy out, actually, well, not too dumb, but it's a lot of things on this are kind of stupidly designed. Like, you got to take out your inner fender or cut it or fold it back to get the last bolt for that. Kind of stupid. Same with power steering box. You got to move a whole bunch of stuff out of the way to swap that. But other than that, I mean, it's not too bad. It's only 3 bolts. Not too hard to get at other than moving the inner fender. But yeah, just got to take that guy out, and then all the IFS stuff is done. I'll probably leave that for now, unless somebody wants to buy it, because I'm going to try to sell some of this stuff. Somebody wants to buy it, I'll come out and take it out. Probably take me 5 minutes. But because I'm lazy, I'm probably going to leave it in for now. Scoot all this stuff to the side. I think that's pretty much it for the IFS stuff. As you can see, there's all these big brackets in the way now. I'm going to leave the sway bar for now. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. I still got to cut. Yeah, I got tons of cutting to do. I got the lost for words. I got the torsion bars to cut out from the back. I got all these brackets to cut out. I saw, because I'm not going with a lot of lift and the leaf spring wants to be right here, I've seen people cut out this section. I've seen people cut out the whole cross member, but I'll probably leave it. People don't like it because it hangs down low, but to me, it doesn't really bother me. So I'll probably leave it, but if I got to cut out corners for leaf springs, I will. Yeah. Pretty much done unbolting everything. Now it's cutting. It's probably like 7 hours worth of cutting that I don't want to do.